Hi, fourth graders. Today I'd like to share with you one of my favorite books that I like to read my students at the beginning of each year. It's called Your Fantastic Elastic Brain. Stretch It, Shape It, written by JoAnn Deak. I'm not sure how much you've actually thought about what your brain is capable of and how amazing it actually is. So hopefully after I read this book to you, it'll give you a little bit more background into what your brain is capable of, like I said, and all the amazing things that it can do. So here we go. Your fantastic elastic brain. What does your brain really do? Does it fill the space between your ears? Well, yes, but your brain can do so much more. Your brain helps you think and remember and name what you see and what you hear. It lets you move your body and feel both touch and emotions. Let's just a little bit more, friends. There we go. Your brain does all the things that make you you. Likes red foods. Favorite word is elbow, ping pong champ, and so much more. So what is your brain? Is it a muscle? No, the brain is an organ in your body. It's made up of cells and tissue. The brain controls everything you do, everything you think, everything you feel, and everything you dream. The brain has many parts that do all kinds of jobs. I'm not sure if you've ever learned about the different parts of the brain, but when I first started learning about this, boys and girls, I was just astounded and amazed at how the different parts work together and our ability to think, feel, move, and all those things. So if you look at this picture here, and I actually have a picture as well, if you can see that, of the brain and the main parts. I don't expect you to obviously remember all these parts right now, but maybe you want to be a neuroscientist one day. So if you look here, we've got the cerebrum, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, known as the PFC. You can see that. We've got the amygdala and the cerebellum. So I'm not going to go through everything in the book, friends, and we'll go through this maybe at a later time, but it gives you the different parts and what the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and what they're responsible for in our body. Some parts control emotion, some parts control the way that we move, the way that we remember and where memories are stored and how we dig into those memories and find those. So it kind of goes through each one, the prefrontal cortex. So I'm not going to get into this too much right now because now we're navigating into a new learning experience, new online learning. And what I want you to think about is even though you have never experienced learning 100% online, your brain is capable of learning new things. And like I said, it's kind of like a muscle, it's an organ, but it can get stronger. And as we learn new things, I want you to be thinking about all these challenges and all these new things that we're learning are giving my brain the opportunity to stretch and grow. When you were born, you were very little. Your brain was small and not so strong yet. As you got older, your body grows and gets stronger. As part of your body, your brain grows and learns to do new things. So your brain when you were a little one is not the same as it is now. And you can make your brain do even more. Your brain grows very fast during the first 10 years of your life. This is the magic decade when you can help your brain grow faster and more powerful. Just like lifting weights helps your muscles get stronger, learning new things strengthens your brain. You can give your brain a good workout by trying to learn many different things. And that's exactly what we're doing right now, boys and girls. Learning all sorts of different things with trying to learn how to learn virtually. Like elastic bands that stretch, when you pull them, even things that are hard at first or that you don't like to do or that you don't do very well get easier when you keep trying. And that kind of goes along with what we're going to talk about throughout the semester about perseverance and sticking with something even though it might be challenging and tricky. Think about the first time you played soccer. You probably couldn't kick the ball very far or make many goals, but as you kept going to practices, you learned more about the rules of the game and followed your coach's directions. The muscles in your legs and feet got stronger, your movements were more coordinated, and you could run farther and faster. Learning more and practicing what you learned lets you play better and have more fun. Practice really does make perfect. Well, not really. At least it makes it much better. So thinking about how when things don't come easy to you right away and how that's actually helping your brain get stronger. Even when you make a mistake while you're learning something new, I'll move this just a little bit, boys and girls. Is that better? Okay. I'm gonna move back just a little bit too. Okay. You're still training your brain when you're making a mistake. You will remember that mistake and try something else until you get it right. I always tell my students, I like when you make mistakes because that means that you're learning. So I encourage you to make as many mistakes as possible because that's how your brain gets retrained and learns and grows. Making mistakes is one of the best ways your brain learns and grows. If you aren't willing to take a risk to be wrong, you won't take the chances to stretch your elastic brain. So I want you to think that mistakes are proof that you're trying and it's giving you the ability to learn something new. You can stretch the part of your brain that controls your feelings too. If you're frightened about taking a risk, like learning to swim, finding the courage to put your face in the water stretches your amygdala, it will remind you that you overcame your fear. So you will be braver the next time something scares you, like diving into the water. We'll talk a lot about that amygdala and how those emotions in our brain can affect the way that we think and the way that we act. And there's lots of things that we can do when we're in stressful situations or challenging situations to help our brain learn how to cope with that. Learning something new causes the brain to grow more connections among the neurons. And I love teaching my friends about neurons and connections in the brains. It's so interesting. With more connections, the neurons can send and receive more messages. These connections help to stretch a part of your brain and make it more elastic so that it can hold more information and ideas. Friends, if we don't give ourselves new experiences and try new things, it doesn't allow our brain to make those new connections and grow stronger. Well, how does the brain stretch and grow? Neuro means that the word is part of something to do with the brain. A sculptor molds, shapes, and carves things out of clay or wood or stone. So you shape your brain when you make it bigger by adding new things you know and can do. You are a neural sculptor. So if this is something that's interesting to you, you might become a neuroscientist, which is just a doctor of the brain or a scientist who studies the brain. When you learn something new, you're building on what you already have learned in some way, in the same way that the muscles in your body work together when you want to lift a heavy object or kick a ball. The different parts of your brain work together when you're learning something new. So that's really important, friends. Your brain has all those important parts, but they do work in kind of a family, kind of a brain family. They do work together. And on the side here, it talks a little bit more about each part, which we can go over in a different lesson. So, words to remember. The brain that makes you really is an amazing organ. It controls what you think, what you do, what you feel, and remember. Your brain is growing very fast during the first 10 years of your life, and now we know that you can help it grow even more. When you try hard to learn something new, those connections from neurons, they attach from neurons and attach to other neurons. Then your brain can send messages faster, making part of your brain bigger and stronger. Making mistakes really helps you learn because your brain keeps trying new things and stretching, kind of like a rubber band, until you figure out the answer to your problem. You are shaping a more elastic brain when you learn new things that build on what you already know. The more different kinds of things you learn and think about, the more you can learn and know and enjoy. The harder you try without giving up, the more you will learn. And sometimes it doesn't feel like that, boys and girls, when something's really hard and you're really frustrated. But I'll tell you, it is true. It just takes a little bit of time. You can train your brain to be fit and strong and to keep stretching and growing throughout your whole life. Boys and girls, just like this new virtual learning is new for you, it's new for Miss Willie too. So not only are we in this together, our brains right now, learning all this new information, we're both growing our brains, okay? So that is fantastic elastic brain. So I just kind of want to show you something over here. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of something called a growth mindset. That's the kind of that inner talk that we have with ourselves and the mindset that we go into situations with. You can either have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is where you tell yourself you're not able to do something. You kind of have a negative outlook and it's kind of your brain is fixed in one spot. Well, when we change our mindset, boys and girls, it can change the way that we learn and the way that we see things. So I just kind of want to show you this. So, I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. So it's just the way that we talk to ourselves and the way we think about situations that we're in. I'm not going to go over this whole thing, but for instance, if you have a fixed mindset, okay, you might say something like, oh, I give up, or I can't do this. Instead, kind of changing that mindset and that self-talk to yourself, you might say, I think I'm going to try a different strategy. Maybe that will work. Or, you know what, I know I'm not able to do this right now, but I'm going to try to train my brain so I can get it eventually. All right, and I love this one. Sometimes we say to ourselves, oh, this is just too hard. But instead, you might say to yourself, okay, I know this is going to take a little time, but with a little bit of effort, I think I can do it. So I always tell my students when they tell me they're not able to do something, I always say you're not able to do it yet. And for you, it might come easier at one time and easier for another student at a different time. So you just have to show yourself a little grace, boys and girls. And as we move into this new year together, I just want you to think about having that growth mindset and being positive and understanding that it might be a challenge, and it is a challenge for all of us. Okay? So I just want to leave you with two little quotes. This one is, it's not like I can't do this, I just can't do it yet. And this goes on for adults too, boys and girls. Your whole life, these are things that are going to help you. Anyone can be smart. You just have to work at it. Things don't come easy, boys and girls, but I know you can do it, and we're in this together. So just kind of thinking today about the rest of your day, and as we move forward, want you to keep that growth mindset through all the learning that we're doing. So thank you. Have a great day, guys.